In a world divided between cold logic and blind faith, which path leads to true prosperity? What if I told you that the key to unlocking a life of abundance lies not in choosing a side, but in mastering the powerful synergy between the two? And what if this secret key was revealed by one of the greatest spiritual giants of our time, the Saint, Pope John Paul II? Today, we will delve into one of the most profound and perhaps most misunderstood teachings of Karol Wojtyła. We will not just talk about the Pope who brought down walls and moved multitudes. We will unveil the strategist of the human soul, the master who bequeathed to us an infallible method for success, based on what he called the two wings of the human spirit, faith and reason. Forget everything you think you know about prosperity. This is not a message about superficial positive thinking or complex market analyses. This is about forging a steel mindset. A mindset that unites the transcendental courage of faith with the strategic clarity of reason to create an unstoppable force capable of materializing not only wealth, but a purpose that enriches the soul. Because your stagnation, whether financial, professional, or personal, often lies in this divorce. Either you act with a faith that doesn't plan, or you plan with a reason that doesn't dare to believe. John Paul II shows us that true power, the power that builds legacies, is born from the harmonious encounter of these two forces. Prepare to unlock a method that can reconfigure the way you think, decide, and act. The steel mindset of the saintly Pope is about to be revealed, and it may be the catalyst your transformation has been waiting for. Stay with me. To build this steel mindset, we must first understand the power of each of the two wings that John Paul II described in his famous encyclical, Fides et Ratio. The first wing, the force that launches us into the impossible, is faith. This is our first pillar. The first wing, the faith that dares and sees the invisible. Reason, by itself, operates within the limits of what is known, what is calculable, what is safe. It is essential, but it is by nature cautious. It sees the abyss and says, stop. Faith, on the other hand, sees the same abyss, but sees an invisible bridge and says, cross. Faith, in the vision of John Paul II, is not a vague feeling or an irrational belief. It is an act of radical trust in the truth revealed by God. It is the ability to see beyond present circumstances and to anchor your actions in a future promise, in a greater purpose. It is the force that fuels hope when logic says there is no hope left. Think of the life of Karol Wojtyła himself. What human logic would tell a young poet and actor living under the brutal oppression of Nazism and then communism that he would become one of the most influential men on the planet and be instrumental in the fall of the Iron Curtain? Reason would say, survive. Don't draw attention, don't dream. But his faith made him dare. It made him resist. It made him believe in a future of freedom that seemed impossible. How does this wing of faith unlock your prosperity? It overcomes paralyzing fear, the fear of failure, the fear of scarcity. The fear of judgment are the greatest assassins of great financial and life projects. Faith is the only effective antidote. It does not eliminate the existence of risk, but it gives you the courage to act despite the risk, trusting that a greater force sustains you. It allows you to dream big. Reason can help you optimize your current situation, but it is faith that allows you to visualize a completely new reality. It is faith that gives you permission to dream of that business no one believes in, of that career that seems unattainable, of a level of abundance that your current situation does not justify. Without the vision that faith provides, reason has nowhere to direct its efforts. It generates supernatural resilience. Every path to success is paved with difficulties and temporary failures. Reason alone can lead you to give up when the numbers don't add up, or when the obstacles seem too great. Faith, however, reminds you of your why, of your mission, of the promise. It gives you the strength to get up after a fall, to learn from the mistake, and to keep marching with a tenacity that the world calls madness, but that heaven calls trust. The wing of faith is the starter motor. It is what gets you out of inertia. It is what makes you take the first step when the entire staircase is not yet visible. Without it, the best strategy in the world remains just a theory on paper. Faith is the decision to act as if what you believe is already real, and that conviction, when genuine, has a creative power that science is only beginning to understand. Your journey to prosperity begins here. Do you dare to have faith? Do you dare to believe that God has a plan of abundance for your life, even if your current reality screams the opposite? Strengthening this first wing is the initial step to soaring to greater heights. Having the faith to dream and the courage to dare is fundamental, but faith alone, without direction and structure, can become a chaotic and aimless flight. That is why John Paul II insisted on the necessity of the second wing. This is our second pillar, the second wing, reason that orders, structures, and builds. If faith is the engine that launches you into the sky, reason is the rudder and the navigation instruments that guide you safely to your destination. John Paul II, a profound intellectual and philosopher, never despised the power of the human intellect. On the contrary, he saw reason as an extraordinary divine gift, a spark of God's own logic within us. To ignore reason in the name of a pure faith is a dangerous mistake that leads to fanaticism, naivety, and in the financial field, disastrous decisions. God gave you a brain to be used. Reason, when applied to your pursuit of prosperity, becomes the force that transforms ethereal dreams into concrete projects. How does this wing of reason build your prosperity? Clarity and strategic planning. Reason forces you to ask the tough questions. What exactly is my goal? What are the necessary steps to get there? What resources do I have? And which do I need to acquire? What are the risks and how can I mitigate them? Without this clear planning, faith can become mere presumption. Reason transforms "I want to be rich" into "This is my plan to build wealth sustainably over the next 5 years." Discipline and good stewardship. God blesses diligence and good management. Reason is the tool that allows you to create a budget, control your spending, save and invest wisely. It helps you cultivate discipline, to delay immediate gratification for the sake of a greater good in the future. Being a good steward of the resources you already have, whether they are few or many, is a proof of maturity that attracts more blessings. Continuous learning and adaptation. The world changes. Markets change. Reason impels you to learn, to study, to acquire new skills, to understand how the world works. An investor who doesn't study, an entrepreneur who doesn't understand their market, a professional who doesn't keep up to date, all of them are doomed to failure, no matter how much faith they have. Reason allows you to adapt, to correct your course, and to make informed decisions, instead of depending solely on luck or a momentary inspiration. Reason, therefore, is the structure, the skeleton that gives form and support to the body of your vision. It anchors you in reality, protects you from foolish decisions, and gives you the tools to build something solid and lasting. And now, we arrive at the heart of John Paul II's infallible method, the point where the magic truly happens. It is not in faith alone, nor in reason alone. It is in their perfect union. This is the third pillar, the perfect flight, the explosive synergy of faith and reason. A bird cannot fly with only one wing. It needs the synchronized and powerful flapping of both. Similarly, Your life only takes off towards true prosperity when you learn to use faith and reason in perfect harmony. Faith empowers reason. Faith gives your reason a grand purpose and the courage to execute plans that would otherwise seem too bold. It helps you persevere when rational analysis shows that the odds are small. Reason channels faith. Reason takes the raw, visionary energy of faith and directs it into an effective action plan. It prevents your faith from becoming naive optimism, giving it strategy, structure, and a concrete path to follow. How does this work in practice? Vision, faith, plus plan, reason. You have the faith to visualize a successful business. Vision. Then you use your reason to create a detailed business plan, study the market, and set goals. Plan. Courage, faith, plus risk analysis. Reason. You feel in your heart, faith, that you should make an investment, but instead of acting impulsively, you use your reason to analyze the risks, diversify, and invest an amount that doesn't compromise your security. Analysis. Trust, faith, disciplined action. Reason. You trust that God will guide you. Faith. And then you honor that trust with the hard work, daily discipline, and excellence that your reason tells you are necessary for success. Action. It is this constant dance between believing and thinking, between daring and planning, between trusting and acting that forges the steel mindset. A mindset that is, at the same time, flexible and unshakable, visionary and pragmatic. This is the essence of the genius of John Paul II applied to your life. You become a co-creator with God. You dream and trust, faith, and then you use the gifts of intelligence and will that He gave you to build that dream in the real world. Reason. The wisdom of John Paul II is not a museum piece. It is a spiritual and strategic weapon for your life today. The steel mindset is not something you are born with, but something that is forged in the daily union of faith and reason. You have discovered the pillars of this infallible method. Now let's turn this knowledge into action. Your action plan to forge the steel mindset. Decide to integrate your wings now. Go to the comments and declare your new way of operating. Write, with faith and reason, I unlock my prosperity. This is your commitment to stop living a divided life. Be a light of wisdom. If this message brought you clarity, like the video, and most importantly, share it with someone you know is stuck, whether in the paralysis of reason or the naivety of faith. Help them find the balance. Apply the method today. Do this. 2 wings exercise. Take a financial or life goal you have. On a sheet of paper, on one side, wing of faith, write down why you believe that, with God's help, this goal is possible. Dream without limits. On the other side, wing of reason, list the first 3 logical and practical steps you can take starting tomorrow to begin building that dream. Take that first step. Don't leave it on paper. Execute the first action from your wing of reason list within the next 24 hours. The prosperity that awaits you is not the result of chance. It is the consequence of a mind aligned with the divine principles of faith and reason. May the powerful wisdom of St. John Paul II inspire you to take the highest flight of your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to continue forging your steel mindset with us. Until next time.